Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the PBB number 4B21, 4.5 NRP 613. This is a hinge, is what it is. And I have one here. We're going to dissect that part number and take a look at this hinge. This is exactly what they sent. Let's take some dimensional properties of this hinge. It's 4.5 inch tall, that's the first dimension. And it's 4.5 inches wide. The leaf thickness is, it should be 180 thousandths. Let's take a look. My caliper tells me it's 187 thousandths in one area, 190 thousandths in another 0area. Yeah, closer to 190. So it's definitely heavy on what it ought to be. You know, 10 thousandths of an inch is not nothing to argue about between friends, but it should be 0.18, and this is basically 0.19. And that's what this is. The height is the first dimension. That's important to know because that's how hinges are sized. Whereas with doors, the width is the first dimension. I think what they do is list information in terms of order of decreasing importance, in terms of the way I like to think of it is, you know, tell me to go from point A to point B and arrive at a specific time. So I need to know direction and rate of speed in order to get there by that time. But rate of speed's important, but don't tell me the rate of speed first because I need to know what direction to head in. So that's my point. The most important thing first, the most crucial, direction, and then things that follow. Anyway, just my theory. And that's what this is. This is an oil-rubbed bronze finish. It's a tip-off that it's a heavyweight hinge because it has 4 bearing packets, and that 190 thousandths is also the proof that it is. Let's talk about where exactly you would use this hinge. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Now, where are you going to use this hinge, and also where won't you use this hinge? Well, you're going to use this hinge in an application where you probably have a heavier than average door, hence the heavyweight nature of the hinge, and you want a true oil-rubbed bronze finish, which would mean you'd have to have a bronze-based material, which this is. This is a non-ferrous-based material. This is a bit of an unusual hinge in the sense that it's also non-removable pin. So what I'm driving at is the unusual nature is the heavyweight, non-removable pin, but on the other hand, bronze base material. So is it an exterior door that is heavier and is outswing, but you want a non-ferrous sort of base material? The point being is if this was going to be a hinge in an application that needed to handle a heavier grade door, I wouldn't probably use bronze as a base material as much, even though there's, you know, ball bearing packets inside of here. And they're likely stainless steel ball bearings. It's an odd confluence of what is this being used for. Now, what this is being used for this client is they have a exterior gate, and it's heavy, and it's going to get rained on, etc. And they want oil-rubbed bronze, and the 4.5 inch by 4.5 inch works well for the thickness of the gate, for the inset and clearance relationship of the gate to its jamb post, and they do want non-removable pin. And because it's heavier, the heavyweight hinge is what we would have opted for. So that's where you're going to end up using this. Now you could also use this, like here in Southwest Florida, simply in a coastal environment where you want to be able to have a hinge that's going to be less prone to rusting. And because it's an exterior gate, the client needs oil-rubbed bronze. We could have done this in a steel-based hinge, but it's an exterior gate. It's going to rust. So bronze base materials where all of this comes into play. And there you go. So a hinge of this nature is unusual, but there will be a need. There will be an application that kind of funnels you right down to, yeah, that's the hinge I need. I want something heavyweight, 4.5 inch tall and 4.5 wide or fine, and I want something with a non-ferrous base material. And because it's heavyweight, it's going to be ball bearing. And again, you know it's heavyweight when you have 4 bearing packets. If there are only 2, then you know it's a standard weight hinge. Template hole pattern on the screw hole locations, that's a standard, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. This is going to include screws. It will include the standard package of screws. The manufacturer sent enough machine screws and wood screws to do the job, which is always good. Marginally magnetic there, it seems. This might be a stainless screw. Yeah, they're marginally magnetic. They might be stainless screws that are coated, finished, plated, whatever, to a complementary finish, which is not unusual in the sense that a lot of people will say, yeah, I need screws. Why? What happened? Well, I didn't realize they were brass and I just sheared the screw. So having something that's a more durable base material is not necessarily a bad thing, but that is marginally magnetic, and stainless is known to exhibit magnetic properties when it's been machined and worked. So let's switch to the screen view and let's take a closer look at the supporting information. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now let's get back to it. Okay, here is the hinge we're looking at. Let's take a look at some images that we have here. There's the label. There's the hinge. This is just a view of the cross-section showing the swag or the bend on the hinge leaf here, making it a full mortise hinge. There's the hinge itself, the logo that's there. Kind of a close-up view showing the finish. A little bit of an area where the finish has rubbed off just by packaging and handling. The back side of the hinge. PBB does tout that they finish the back side of their hinges, where not all manufacturers do. And then your fasteners. Now below this video is information regarding the profile of the hinge, or the, what it is, which we've gone over. This is 613. That means two things. It means it's made of bronze, and that it means it's in an oil rubbed finish. It's a heavyweight. It is 5 knuckle. I didn't mention that earlier. 4 ball bearing packets or raceways. Heavyweight doors receiving high frequency use. So let's dissect this part number. It's a 4B21. That means the following. 4 is heavyweight. B is ball bearing. 21 means it's a full mortise, 5 knuckle, brass or bronze base material. It's NRP, non-removable pin. There is a set screw that has been installed into the hinge, which you can see here a little bit, right here. When that set screw has been tightened down, it will render it all but impossible to drive that pin out, the hinge pin. Fasteners. Now there's a cut sheet. Let's take a look at that. This is out of the manufacturer's catalog and allows you to see this hinge. The 81, the 21, and the 51. The only difference there is the base material. Steel, brass, or bronze, or stainless. And it gives you all of the information that we've basically discussed. Template. I've used the word template already. The word template is going to be used to refer to a document that will show you dimensional properties, but the location of these screw holes is called the template location. So if you're doing doors and frames, and those are all prepped for this size and thickness of hinge, and those locations for the screws are in the template location, this hinge is going to be compatible with that. Data down here. Now, there's also a link below this video, as seen here, to the manufacturer's page. When you click on that, you'll be able to pull up not only all of the PBB products we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to their product catalog. The PBB product catalog is not awful, and I say that tongue-in-cheek. It's better than most. It's not the best, but it's better than most, and I say that because PBB has an excellent encyclopedic introductory section in the beginning. This document, if you're an architect, a specifier, an engineer, a designer, a distributor, an owner, anyone who has to work with hinges, your career in dealing with builder's hardware will be more rewarding, enjoyable, easier when you have an understanding of the basic terminologies that pertain to the world of hinges. I have seen lots of hardware manufactured. I've seen hollow metal doors made. I've manufactured them in a very small sense. I've manufactured wood doors in a not so small sense. And I've been to a hinge manufacturer, and this is awful, dastardly dirty work. Making hinges is really hard work. I have a lot of respect for hinge manufacturers after seeing it done. Location of hinges on doors, proper hinge height. This is a formula for wide throw, showing you how we define the width of the hinge. Absolutely required reading, most absolutely, if you are a distributor of builder's hardware. Not every manufacturer has a nice catalog like this. I can think of 2 others that do. Many others simply don't do as good of an attempt, And then they break down how they put together their part numbers. So 4B, 4 ball bearing heavyweight. We have a 2, which means wrought brass. I said bronze earlier. And then we have a 1, which means full mortise. That's how you put their part numbers together. Security options, decorative tips, and then it gets into all of the product pages. And we still have 192 pages to go in the catalog. Really great stuff. All right, let's wrap up this video on camera. If you've made it this far into this video, you must be determined to see it through to the end, and we appreciate your hanging in there with us and watching this entire video. It means a lot. It takes a lot of work to create these videos in the sense that, it's time taken away from doing other things. However, the advantage for me personally of creating these videos is the fact that it does allow myself to either learn about something new, to reacquaint myself with something, or to reinforce what I believe that I already know. Any comments that you might leave down below would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. There are a lot of manufacturers and vendors that we deal with in this industry, and some of them not too responsive. Others are good. Others are exceptional. PBB is exceptional. And what do I mean? These hinges are imported from Asia, as far as I know. All the base material, they're buying the raw components in Asia. They're doing finishing and assembly in California, and I believe somewhere east. It might be in Canada, but it's somewhere else. And they have a warehouse somewhere else as well, as far as I understand. The point of me saying all that is, it's a hinge. I can buy a hinge from countless people, literally. Dozens of people I can buy an imported hinge from. But when you're dealing with a commodity like this, you're really not buying the hinge. You're really buying the customer service that stands behind it. PBB keeps it simple. You send them a PO, they send you an order confirmation, and they send you a tracking number. It's that easy. You send them a quote request or a stock check, you're getting a response really, really quickly. And you know what? Hinges need to be pain-free. There's nothing technical about these that someone in the door industry doesn't understand. You don't want to have a botheration with a hinge, and I think PBB very well understands that, and they keep it super simple. The phrase I like to tell, it's completely politically incorrect, but the moral behind it, or the idea behind it, keep your customers fat, dumb, stupid, and lazy, meaning keep me fat, dumb, stupid, and lazy. And if you do, then I don't have a need to look for an alternative solution. And I realize that's probably quite crude to say, but just get into the concept behind it. Keep your client blissfully happy, and then there's no reason to question it. And PBB really nails that. They keep us blissfully happy, and I look to use their material as often as I can. And I also will use them when I know no one else has it in stock. That's the bottom line. Their inventory is pretty good. Any questions on this hinge or any other PBB product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you. Thanks to our clients, Architectural Builder Supply is building an additional facility. And what follows is not only a look at the acreage that we're building the facility on, but also first the architectural renderings as they exist, or at least the architectural plans as they exist at this time. Thank you very much. Let's take a look. All right, let's take a look at the architecturals as they exist at this moment, or at least it wouldn't be proper to call these architecturals, but it would be proper to call them renderings in the sense of they're conceptual drawings, they're not renderings. So the entire space is going to look like this in terms of a site rendering. This will be a 22,000 square foot building, of which will have specific purpose areas. There'll be a workshop down here. This is a few thousand square feet that will be likely woodworking, metalworking, CNC, things of that nature. This will be an office area here, a private office area. This will be Architectural Builders Supply expanded storage area where we will be able to do fulfillment. The entire space in the center is going to be all of the volume, as I call it. Large components will be able to be stored in stock there. Machinery that's too large to fit otherwise may be put out here. Specific facility rooms, and then some recreation over here. Let's take a look at that drone footage, and thank you very much for taking a look.